Ladies and gentlemen, today I am about to challenge you in a way that will change your life forever. I'm not talking about a small tweak or an easy fix. I'm talking about an audacious challenge. A challenge that, if you accept, will unleash a power inside of you that has been lying dormant for too long. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you how to speak to yourself in a way that will shift everything. And here's the catch. I want you to do this for just 3 days. But I guarantee that if you stick with it, you'll see results that will make you wonder why you didn't start sooner. The words we speak to ourselves are far more powerful than we often realize. They shape our inner world and ultimately determine the course of our external world. Every thought we think and every word we say is a seed that takes root in our minds and grows into the actions we take, the decisions we make, and the life we create. If we constantly tell ourselves that we're not good enough or that success is out of reach, those words become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Our reality begins to align with the narrative we've written for ourselves. And before we know it, we're living in the very limitations we've set up in our minds. Self-talk influences our confidence, motivation, and perseverance. Now think about it. When you tell yourself, I can't do this, you create a barrier in your mind that blocks any possibility of success. On the other hand, when you tell yourself, I can figure this out, or I am capable, you open the door to new opportunities and solutions. This is not just a motivational statement. It's grounded in the simple fact that the way we speak to ourselves directly impacts how we perform and how we engage with the world around us. Our thoughts are like magnets that attract the experiences and outcomes we focus on. If you constantly dwell on negative self-talk, you'll begin to attract situations that reflect those negative beliefs. This is why it's essential to challenge any limiting beliefs or toxic thoughts that pop into your head. When you replace these with empowering affirmations, you shift the entire energy of your life. You'll start to notice that the people you encounter, the opportunities you come across, and even your own abilities begin to reflect the belief you have in yourself. The language we use with ourselves is deeply connected to our sense of identity. The stories we tell ourselves shape who we believe we are, and who we believe we are determines what we feel we deserve. If you tell yourself that you're a failure, you start to embody that identity. But if you tell yourself that you are successful, capable, and deserving, your actions, choices, and behaviors will align with that belief. Over time, this shift in self-talk will naturally build your confidence and reinforce the person you are becoming. Self-talk doesn't just influence our success, it affects our emotional well-being as well. The way we speak to ourselves determines our stress levels, anxiety, and overall mental health. If you're constantly harsh and critical of yourself, it creates a negative feedback loop that makes everything feel harder. But when you speak to yourself with kindness, compassion, and understanding, you begin to cultivate an inner peace that allows you to face challenges with clarity and strength. There's a direct correlation between self-talk and resilience. Life is full of challenges and setbacks, but those who have a strong and positive inner dialogue are better equipped to handle adversity. When you tell yourself, I'm strong enough to get through this, I will learn from this, or this setback is just a setup for a comeback, you develop the resilience needed to bounce back from difficulties. Self-talk becomes your armor in times of struggle, providing the mental fortitude to push through even when the road seems impossible. The impact of self-talk is not confined to the individual level. It extends to the relationships we have with others. If you don't believe in yourself, it can be difficult to believe in others or support them in their growth. When you speak positively to yourself, you cultivate a mindset of abundance, empathy, and encouragement. This positive self-dialogue spreads outward, fostering healthier, more supportive relationships. As your self-talk improves, your interactions with those around you naturally improve as well. Self-talk is an ongoing practice. It's not enough to simply say a few positive words once in a while. To truly change your life, you must cultivate the habit of speaking positively to yourself daily. This means becoming aware of your thoughts and intentionally replacing any negative or limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Over time, this consistent practice will reshape your entire mindset and create a foundation for long-term success. Self-talk is the tool that has the potential to unlock your fullest potential, and when harnessed correctly, it will propel you forward toward the life you truly deserve. Change is often viewed as one of the most difficult things to embrace, yet it is also one of the most necessary components of growth. The idea of stepping outside of our comfort zones and challenging the beliefs, habits, and mindsets we have spent years building can be terrifying. However, growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when we push ourselves beyond the limits we have imposed, when we stop settling for the life we've always known and instead start striving for something greater. The challenge of change isn't about making drastic, immediate transformations. It's about the commitment to taking small, intentional steps toward becoming who we are truly meant to be. The first step in embracing change is recognizing that it requires conscious effort. We can't just sit back and hope for change to magically happen. We must be the catalyst for it. This means actively deciding that the person we are today is not the person we will be tomorrow. It means understanding that change is a process, not an event, and that we must consistently show up for ourselves every single day, doing the work, making the choices, and taking the actions that align with the future we envision. Change is not passive. It requires us to be proactive, to take control of our destiny rather than letting our circumstances dictate the course of our lives. Part of the challenge of change lies in overcoming the resistance that comes with it. Our brains are wired for survival, and because of this, they often resist change, even when it's for the better. We naturally seek stability and familiarity, and anything that threatens that comfort is met with reluctance. This resistance is normal and should be expected. The key is to not let this resistance control you. Instead of shying away from discomfort, you must learn to embrace it, understanding that it is a sign that you are on the right path. The more resistance you feel, the more you know you are breaking free from the limitations of your old self. The fear of failure is another major barrier to change. Many people fear change because they associate it with risk and uncertainty, and the idea of failing can be paralyzing. But failure is not the end, it is merely part of the process. Every great success story is filled with failure, setbacks, and mistakes. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they respond to failure. Rather than seeing failure as something to avoid, you must view it as a teacher. Each failure carries a lesson, and each lesson brings you closer to the version of yourself that is capable of achieving what you desire. Change requires a mindset shift where failure is not feared, but welcomed as an opportunity to grow. Another challenge of change is overcoming the beliefs that have held us back for so long. Many of us carry limiting beliefs from our past, stories that we've internalized about who we are and what we are capable of. These beliefs often stem from past failures, childhood experiences, or the opinions of others. They can be incredibly hard to shake, especially if they have been with us for years. But in order to change, we must challenge these beliefs head on. We must ask ourselves, is this belief really true? If it isn't, we have to consciously choose to replace it with a more empowering belief that supports our growth. This is where the true power of change lies, within the ability to rewrite the narratives we've been telling ourselves. The challenge of change also requires the courage to let go of the past. Holding on to past mistakes, regrets, or old versions of ourselves can prevent us from fully stepping into the future we want to create. It's not always easy to release the familiar, even if it no longer serves us. Letting go means relinquishing control and trusting that the future holds something better for us. It means surrendering old ways of thinking and doing in order to embrace new opportunities and possibility. Change demands that we stop looking backward and start looking forward, that we stop clinging to the past and start stepping boldly into the unknown. When it comes to change, patience is just as important as persistence. The process of transformation is rarely quick, and there will be times when progress feels slow or even non-existent. This is where many people give up, feeling frustrated by the lack of immediate results. However, true and lasting change takes time. It's not about making one huge leap forward, but rather about taking consistent, small steps that over time lead to monumental shifts. You must be patient with yourself and the process. Trust that the work you are doing today is laying the foundation for the life you want to create tomorrow. Success does not come overnight, but with every step, you get closer to your goal. Finally, the challenge of change is rooted in the ability to maintain a vision for the future while staying grounded in the present. It's easy to get overwhelmed when we think about the magnitude of the transformation we desire. It can feel like a daunting task to change everything at once. But change is not about doing everything at once. It's about focusing on the next step. Rather than getting bogged down by the enormity of your goals, break them down into manageable actions and focus on the present moment. By doing this, you make the process of change feel more achievable. It's about living intentionally in the now with the belief that every action you take is moving you closer to the future you want. You are powerful. This is not just a motivational phrase. It is a deep truth that lies within every single one of us. The power within you is untapped potential, waiting to be recognized, nurtured, and unleashed. Often, we don't realize the extent of this power because we've been conditioned to think that our worth is determined by external factors, by the opinions of others, by our past experiences, by our current circumstances. But true power doesn't come from anything outside of you. It's not about what others think of you or what you have achieved. It's about recognizing and believing in the immense strength and ability that already exists within. This power is not just about physical strength or the ability to accomplish things. It's about the power of your mind, your thoughts, and your beliefs. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have at your disposal. What you believe about yourself shapes the actions you take, the opportunities you see, and the relationships you build. When you believe in your power, you begin to act with confidence, determination, and purpose. You stop second guessing yourself and instead you start moving toward your goals with clarity and focus. The power of your mind is limitless. And when you learn to harness it, you begin to shape the life you've always wanted. Often the reason we don't tap into our true power is because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. These fears are not signs of weakness, but rather indicators that we are stepping outside of our comfort zones and into new territory. The fear you feel when you think about taking on something new is simply your mind signaling that you are on the verge of growth. The true power lies not in avoiding fear, but in moving forward despite it. Every time you push through fear, you claim a piece of your power. You prove to yourself that you are capable, strong, and resilient, and that you can handle whatever challenges life throws your way. Your power is also rooted in your ability to make choices. Every single day, you have the power to choose how you respond to the situations around you. You can choose to react with negativity, frustration, or hopelessness, or you can choose to respond with optimism, resilience, and an unwavering belief that you can overcome anything. The choices you make, no matter how small they may seem, create the trajectory of your life. Every choice you make strengthens your inner power, reinforcing the belief that you are in control of your life and your destiny. Another critical aspect of your power is your ability to persist in the face of adversity. Life is full of challenges, some small, some monumental, but your ability to keep moving forward no matter what is what truly demonstrates your strength. Power isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about embracing it and using it as fuel to keep going. When you face setbacks, failures, or obstacles, you have the choice to give up or keep pushing. The most powerful people are not those who never fail, but those who get up each time they fall. Persistence is the manifestation of your power, the proof that you have the inner strength to face any challenge and come out stronger on the other side. Your power also lies in your ability to influence others. Every interaction you have is an opportunity to inspire, uplift, and motivate those around you. When you walk in your own power, you radiate energy that can positively impact others. People are drawn to strength, to confidence, and to those who believe in themselves. When you recognize your own power, you give others permission to do the same. Your belief in yourself becomes contagious, and you become a source of inspiration for everyone around you. This ripple effect of empowerment is one of the most powerful forces in the world. True power is also about self-mastery. It's about learning to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions in a way that aligns with your highest goals and values. It's easy to let external circumstances dictate your mood and decisions, but true power comes from within. When you learn to control your responses and remain calm, focused, and centered, you are able to act with purpose and clarity no matter what is happening around you. Self-mastery is not about perfection. It's about being conscious of your choices and maintaining control over how you show up in the world. Your power is found in your purpose. When you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve and why it matters to you, your power becomes amplified. Purpose is the driving force behind everything you do. It provides the motivation, the determination, and the energy you need to push through challenges and stay committed to your goals. When you align your actions with your purpose, you tap into a well of energy and strength that propels you forward. This is the ultimate source of your power. When you are in alignment with your deepest desires, you become unstoppable. You are worthy of success. This statement isn't just an affirmation. It is the fundamental truth that every single person needs to internalize. For many, the idea of being worthy of success feels like a distant, unattainable concept, something reserved for others, people who are smarter, more talented, or simply luckier. But the truth is, your worthiness is not determined by your circumstances, your past mistakes, or anyone else's opinions of you. It is inherent within you, tied to the simple fact that you are human, deserving of all the good things life has to offer. Success isn't something you have to earn. It's something that is already available to you, waiting to be claimed. So often people find themselves stuck in a cycle of self-doubt, believing that they are not capable of achieving success. They may look around and see others reaching their goals and wonder why it isn't happening for them. This self-limiting belief is rooted in the misconception that success is a privilege given only to a select few. The truth, however, is that success is available to anyone who is willing to pursue it with a mindset of self-worth, determination, and consistency. It doesn't matter where you come from, how many mistakes you've made, or what challenges you've faced. What matters is the belief you hold about your own ability to create and deserve success. Your worthiness of success is not dependent on external validation. It's not about how many people approve of you or how many accolades you receive. It's about understanding that your value comes from within. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Your worth isn't defined by the opinions of others or by the standard of success that society has set for you. It's not about comparing yourself to others. It's about embracing your unique strengths, talents, and qualities and using them to create the life you desire. You are worthy simply because you exist, and the success you seek is an extension of that inherent value. Many people struggle to accept their worthiness because of past failures. They believe that because they haven't succeeded before, they don't deserve to succeed now. This belief creates a cycle of self-sabotage where individuals hold themselves back from pursuing their dreams because they feel they aren't worthy of the outcomes they desire. But failure is not an indicator of worth. It's an opportunity for growth. Every failure is a stepping stone towards success, a lesson that teaches you what works and what doesn't. The key to success is not avoiding failure, but understanding that failure is a natural part of the journey, and your worthiness doesn't change based on your setbacks. Your past does not define your future. So many people allow their previous mistakes, missteps, and missed opportunities to dictate their sense of worth. They carry the weight of these experiences, believing they are somehow unworthy of success because of them. But the truth is, your past is only a story, a chapter in your life that you have the power to rewrite. Your worthiness is not tied to what has happened before. It is tied to what you choose to believe about yourself now. Today is a new day, a new opportunity to step into the life you've always dreamed of. You have the ability to start fresh, regardless of what has come before. Success isn't just about material gain. It's about living a life aligned with your true self, fulfilling your purpose, and embracing the joy that comes from doing what you love. When you believe that you are worthy of success, you open yourself up to a life of abundance, not just financially, but in every area. You attract opportunities, relationships, and experiences that resonate with your sense of self-worth. When you know you are worthy, you naturally move toward the things that bring you fulfillment. Success becomes a byproduct of living in alignment with who you truly are, and you start to experience it in ways you never imagined. The belief in your worthiness also allows you to take action without fear of judgment or failure. When you recognize your inherent value, you stop holding yourself back. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect approval from others. You take action because you know that you are deserving of success, and you no longer allow fear or insecurity to keep you from pursuing your dream. You trust yourself to make decisions, to take risks, and to do whatever it takes to move closer to the success you are meant to have. Finally, embracing your worthiness of success is about giving yourself permission to achieve your dreams. So often, we hold ourselves back because we don't feel we deserve the life we want. We think that success is for someone else, or that we need to work harder, prove ourselves more, or meet some external standard in order to claim it. But the truth is, you are worthy right now, exactly as you are. The success you seek is not something you have to earn through endless struggle. It's something you get to claim because you are worthy of it. The moment you believe that, you'll begin to see doors open, opportunities unfold, and your life transform in ways you never thought possible. Relentlessness is key. It's one of the most powerful traits you can embody on your journey to success. When you have a relentless attitude, you approach every challenge with determination, no matter how difficult or discouraging it may seem. It's not about being perfect or never experiencing setbacks. It's about refusing to be defeated by them. Relentlessness is the unwavering belief that no matter what happens, you will not quit. It's about knowing that the road to success is not always smooth, but your persistence will carry you through every obstacle, every setback, and every moment of doubt. The path to success is rarely linear, and it's filled with moments where it feels easier to give up than to keep going. Many people fail not because they lack talent or potential, but because they lack the resilience to keep pushing forward when things get tough. When challenges arise, it's easy to lose momentum, to feel discouraged, or to think that maybe success isn't meant for you. But relentless individuals are different. They don't let temporary failures or difficulties determine their future. They view every setback as a lesson, an opportunity to improve and grow stronger. Relentlessness isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about embracing it and using it to fuel your determination to succeed. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful is often not talent or intelligence, but the ability to stay persistent. The people who rise to the top are the ones who refuse to give up, even when the odds are stacked against them. They understand that success doesn't come overnight. It's the result of consistent effort, time, and perseverance. It's the willingness to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it, and to keep taking action toward your goals. Relentlessness is the refusal to let anything stand in your way. It's about making progress every day, no matter how small, and trusting that your efforts will eventually pay off. One of the greatest challenges to being relentless is the fear of failure. The fear of not succeeding, of not meeting expectations, or of disappointing others can paralyze us and make us want to quit before we've even started. But relentless people understand that failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. They embrace failure as a necessary step on the path to greatness. Each time they fall, they rise stronger, more determined, and more equipped to handle the next challenge. Relentlessness means pushing through fear, understanding that failure is temporary, and that giving up is not an option. The key to relentless persistence is to keep your eyes on the bigger picture, even when things feel difficult in the moment. There will be times when you question whether your efforts are worth it, when you wonder if you're really getting any closer to your goals. In those moments, it's crucial to remember why you started in the first place. Your vision, your purpose, and your goals are what should drive you, not the temporary discomfort or setbacks you encounter along the way. Relentless people maintain focus on their long-term objectives and are willing to endure short-term struggles in exchange for long-term success. They know that nothing worth having comes easily. Relentlessness also requires self-belief. When you are relentless, you believe in your ability to overcome challenges, no matter how big they seem. You trust that you have the strength, the skills, and the resilience to keep going even when it feels like you're running on empty. It's the unshakable belief that you can handle whatever comes your way and that every challenge is just an opportunity to grow. Without this belief in yourself, it's easy to give up when things get hard. But when you have faith in your own abilities, you develop the inner strength to keep going no matter what obstacles you face. A relentless mindset also requires adaptability. While persistence is key, it's equally important to know when to pivot and adjust your approach. Being relentless doesn't mean blindly sticking to a plan that isn't working. It means being willing to adjust your methods, try new strategies, and keep moving forward despite any setbacks. Relentlessness isn't about rigidly following one path. It's about remaining committed to your vision and adapting as needed to overcome the challenges that arise along the way. The ability to pivot when necessary ensures that your persistence remains effective, leading you closer to success rather than allowing you to waste time on approaches that no longer serve you. Relentless people are those who choose to keep going when everyone else would quit. They make the decision to persevere through difficult times, understanding that success is not about avoiding hardship, but about pushing through it. They are driven by an unyielding belief in their own potential and a deep desire to achieve their goals, no matter how long it takes. Relentlessness is the key to overcoming the obstacles that will inevitably come your way. It's the quality that will propel you to greatness and ensure that you don't just survive the journey to success, but thrive on it. Words create your reality. Every word you speak, every thought you think shapes the life you experience. Language is more than just a means of communication. It is a tool of creation. The words you choose are powerful, influencing not only how you see the world, but also how the world responds to you. When you understand this, you begin to realize that your life is a reflection of the language you use, both internally and externally. The words you say to yourself, the words you speak to others, and the words you repeat in your mind all serve as the building blocks of the reality you experience. The first step in recognizing the power of words is to become aware of the language you use. How often do you catch yourself saying things like, "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "this will never work"? These words are not just expressions. They are affirmations of your limitations. Every time you speak in this way, you reinforce a belief system that keeps you stuck in a cycle of negativity. Your words shape your self-perception and, in turn, your action. If you constantly speak of failure or doubt, you subconsciously begin to act in alignment with those beliefs, setting yourself up for disappointment. But when you change your words, you change your mindset. And when you change your mindset, you change your life. The language you use internally, your self-talk, has an even greater impact on your reality. You may not realize it, but the conversations you have in your mind are constantly shaping how you feel and behave. If your internal dialogue is full of self-criticism, fear, or doubt, you are constantly telling yourself that you are not worthy, not capable, or not deserving of success. On the other hand, if your self-talk is positive, affirming, and empowering, you are setting the stage for a mindset that aligns with success, growth, and fulfillment. The words you use in your mind have the power to either propel you forward or keep you anchored in a place of stagnation. Words are not just a reflection of our thoughts. They are the catalyst for creating new realities. When you start to speak with intention, your words begin to align with your goals and desires. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," you begin to say, "I am capable of overcoming this challenge." Instead of saying, "This is too hard," you begin to say, "This is an opportunity for me to grow." These small shifts in language may seem insignificant, but they have a profound impact on how you approach your goals. When you change the language you use, you shift the energy around you and open up new possibilities that you may have once thought were out of reach. The power of words extends to how we communicate with others as well. The words you speak to others have the power to either uplift or diminish them. You have the ability to inspire, motivate, and encourage those around you with your words. On the flip side, your words can also cause harm, creating division, misunderstandings, and even resentment. The language you use in your interactions with others reflects how you see them and how you want to be seen. When you speak with kindness, respect, and understanding, you cultivate positive relationships that enrich your life. On the other hand, when you speak with negativity, judgment, or hostility, you create an environment that fosters conflict and disconnection. Furthermore, the words you use not only affect those around you, but also shape the way you see the world. The lens through which you perceive reality is often filtered through the language you use. If you describe the world as harsh, unfair, or difficult, that is the reality you will experience. But if you choose to speak of the world as abundant, full of opportunities, and rich with possibility, you will begin to notice those very things around you. Language has the power to change your perspective and alter how you engage with the world. The more you speak positively about the world, the more you will see its beauty and potential, allowing you to create a reality that aligns with your desires. Your words also have a profound impact on your emotional state. The language you use can either elevate your mood or drag you down. When you speak in a way that affirms your strength, resilience, and potential, you feel empowered. Your confidence grows, and your belief in your ability to succeed becomes unshakable. But when your words are laced with negativity or self-doubt, your emotions follow suit. You begin to feel discouraged, anxious, and overwhelmed. The emotional energy you carry is directly tied to the words you use. If you want to feel better, you must first change the way you speak to yourself and the world around you. Words are not just tools for communication, they are also tools for manifestation. When you speak your desires into existence, you are taking an active role in creating your reality. The more clearly you articulate what you want, the more you bring it into your life. The language you use sends a message to the universe, signaling your intentions and desires. Whether it's through affirmations, declarations, or even just speaking about your dreams to others, your words carry energy that attracts what you are seeking. The act of speaking your dreams out loud is a powerful step in turning them into reality. The importance of conviction cannot be overstated. It is the force that drives action, the inner fire that sustains momentum when enthusiasm fades. Conviction is not simply having a belief. It is having a belief so deep, so rooted in your core that it influences every decision you make and every step you take. It's what gives your words weight, your presence power, and your vision clarity. Without conviction, even the most brilliant ideas fall flat, and even the most talented individuals fail to rise. Conviction is the substance behind confidence, the invisible yet undeniable element that separates those who dabble from those who dominate. When you carry conviction in your voice, people listen. They may not agree with everything you say, but they will respect the certainty with which you say it. Conviction communicates that you have done the inner work. It shows that you've thought deeply, chosen purposefully, and committed fully. And in a world full of noise and uncertainty, that kind of certainty stands out. It resonates. Whether you're leading a team, sharing a vision, or pursuing your own goals, conviction acts like a magnetic field that draws others in, not because you have all the answers, but because you have anchored yourself in something real and unwavering. Conviction also anchors you in moments of doubt and difficulty. Challenges are inevitable, and there will be times when progress feels slow, when critics are loud, and when the results don't yet match the effort. In these moments, what keeps you moving forward is not motivation, it's conviction. Motivation is fleeting. It rises and falls with your mood. Conviction, on the other hand, is steady. It is rooted in belief that what you're doing matters, that what you're building is worth the cost, and that the future you're aiming for is already yours if you just stay the course. It becomes the reason you don't quit when quitting would be easier. Having conviction also helps you make decisions with clarity and speed. When you are clear about what you believe and what you are working toward, you don't waste time second-guessing every move. You Don't get distracted by every opinion, every trend, or every shiny object that crosses your path. You know what matters, and you act in alignment with that. Conviction cuts through confusion. It sharpens your focus and filters out the noise. It gives you a compass to navigate uncertainty. Because even when the path forward isn't clear, your belief in the destination remains unshaken. Conviction creates consistency. When you're convicted about something, you show up differently. You bring energy even when you're tired. You speak boldly even when you're unsure. You persist even when there's no applause. Conviction doesn't depend on results to remain strong. It produces results because it remains strong. People who are convicted show up day after day, not because everything is going their way, but because they have made a decision to stand for something, to pursue something, and to become something greater. They operate from principle, not convenience, from values, not emotions. What's more, conviction has the power to inspire others. When someone sees you stand boldly in your truth, pursue your calling relentlessly, and speak with unwavering belief, it awakens something in them. It reminds them that they too have something worth standing for. Conviction creates a ripple effect. It spreads from person to person, igniting passion, courage, and clarity in others. People are not inspired by perfection. They are inspired by passion. They are inspired by your willingness to commit fully, to risk boldly, and to believe deeply in what you're doing, even when it's unpopular or uncertain. Conviction is also essential for resilience. Life will test your resolve. Circumstances will shake you. People will doubt you. But if your conviction is strong, you will not be moved. You may bend, but you won't break. You may fall, but you won't stay down. Conviction gives you the grit to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. It reminds you of your why when your how doesn't seem to be working. It's the difference between trying something and committing to it, between saying you want something and being unwilling to live without it. Conviction is the foundation of all lasting success. You can learn skills, gather information, and build connections, but without conviction, you will not endure. You will hesitate. You will shrink. You will crumble when the pressure comes. But with conviction, you become unstoppable. You walk with authority. You speak with intention. You live with purpose. Every action you take is infused with power because it comes from a place of unshakable belief. Conviction makes the difference between a life that is driven by fear and one that is driven by faith. Consistency breeds change. It is the quiet, often overlooked force behind every meaningful transformation. While grand gestures and sudden breakthroughs might grab attention, it's the steady, repeated actions done daily, done deliberately that reshape lives. Consistency doesn't always feel glamorous. It's not always loud or exciting. In fact, it often feels mundane. But over time, it becomes the most powerful tool you have. When you commit to showing up, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one's watching, even when progress seems invisible, you lay the groundwork for permanent change. Every small action compounds, and those compounds turn into momentum, and that momentum becomes transformation. Change doesn't happen because you do something once. It happens because you do it again and again and again until it becomes who you are. The problem most people face is not a lack of desire, but a lack of follow-through. They try something for a day, a week, maybe even a month, and when they don't see instant results, they walk away. But results are not found in short bursts of effort. They are hidden in the daily grind, in the repetition, in the faithfulness to a process that seems slow. Consistency is what bridges the gap between intention and result, between potential and progress. It is what transforms effort into excellence. The reason consistency works is because it creates identity. Every time you do something consistently, you are not just completing a task, you are reinforcing the kind of person you believe yourself to be. When you show up to the gym every day, even when you don't feel like it, you start to see yourself as someone who is disciplined. When you write every morning, even when the words don't flow, you begin to see yourself as a writer. When you speak positively to yourself each day, you build the identity of someone who values and believes in themselves. Change sticks when it becomes personal, And consistency is how you make it personal. Consistency also eliminates the need for constant motivation. If you only act when you feel inspired, you will be unreliable. Emotions fluctuate, motivation comes and goes. But if you build a habit of consistency, you remove emotion from the equation. You stop negotiating with yourself. You don't ask, do I feel like doing this today? You've already decided that it's part of who you are. You show up because that's what consistent people do. That kind of discipline creates confidence. You begin to trust yourself because you're no longer depending on fleeting feelings. You're anchored in consistent action, and that foundation gives you stability. One of the greatest benefits of consistency is how it compounds over time. You may not notice the results after a few days or even a few weeks, but stay consistent, and one day you'll look back and be shocked at how far you've come. Small daily choices repeated over time create exponential growth. It's the law of the harvest. You don't plant seeds and expect fruit the next day, but if you water those seeds, protect them, and tend to them consistently, the harvest will come. Consistency is not just about persistence. It's about planting, nurturing, and trusting the process, knowing that the payoff always comes after the perseverance. Consistency also builds credibility, both with others and with yourself. People trust what they can count on. When others see that you're consistent, they begin to rely on you, respect you, and follow your lead. But more importantly, you begin to believe in yourself. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through, who finishes what they start, who honors their commitments. That kind of self-belief becomes the fuel for bigger goals, greater risks, and higher levels of success. You can't build confidence without evidence. And consistency is the evidence you give yourself every single day that you are capable, reliable, and worthy of the goals you've set. Inconsistency, on the other hand, creates confusion. It sends mixed signals to your brain, to your body, and to those around you. One day you're committed, the next day you're indifferent. One moment you're fired up, the next you're full of excuses. That pattern erodes your momentum. It makes it hard to build trust. Hard to see progress, hard to stay focused. The more you start and stop, the harder it becomes to believe that lasting change is possible. But when you make consistency your standard, everything changes. You create clarity, you build rhythm, you develop resilience, and that rhythm becomes the beat to which your progress dances. What consistency ultimately gives you is control. It puts the power back in your hands. You may not be able to control your environment, your circumstances, or other people, but you can control what you do every day. You can control your routines, your choices, your attitude. That control builds momentum, and momentum builds transformation. The moment you decide that you will no longer be driven by emotion, distraction, or convenience, and instead be anchored in deliberate, repeated action, is the moment change becomes inevitable. Mindset shifts lead to action. Every behavior you take, every step you make starts first in the mind. The way you think determines how you feel, and how you feel determines what you do. If your mindset is rooted in fear, limitation, or doubt, then the actions you take will reflect that. You'll hesitate, you'll procrastinate, or you'll avoid opportunities altogether. But when your mindset shifts into one of possibility, abundance, and confidence, your actions change. You move differently. You stop waiting for permission. You stop seeking external validation. Instead, you take ownership. You take initiative. The shift in thought creates a shift in energy, and that energy becomes motion. Most people try to change their lives by starting with action, but they overlook the beliefs that drive those actions. They try new strategies, new habits, new routines, hoping for a breakthrough. But if the underlying mindset remains the same, the change doesn't last. They go to the gym, but in their mind, they still see themselves as unhealthy. They start a business, but they still carry the identity of someone who's not good with money. They speak affirmations, but they secretly believe they're not worthy of success. The problem isn't effort, it's alignment. Until your mind is aligned with the result you want, your actions will always be inconsistent and ineffective. A powerful mindset shift happens when you stop seeing challenges as problems and start seeing them as preparation. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin asking, what is this teaching me? That one shift alone transforms how you approach every adversity. Suddenly, setbacks become stepping stones. Obstacles become opportunities. Your circumstances no longer define you, they refine you. And when your mind adopts that kind of growth-oriented perspective, you stop running from difficulty and start rising through it. You begin to lean into challenges instead of retreating from them. That's when action becomes purposeful and consistent. Another important mindset shift is moving from scarcity to abundance. Scarcity says, there's not enough. I'm not enough. Opportunities are limited. But abundance says, there's always more chances, more growth, more within me to give. When you operate from a scarcity mindset, you hold back. You compare yourself to others. You live with anxiety and doubt. But when abundance takes root in your mind, you begin to give more, serve more, and believe more. You stop hoarding your energy and ideas and start investing them into the world. That internal shift creates bold action that's driven by faith, not fear. Mindset shifts also allow you to move from victimhood to ownership. When your mind is stuck in blame, blaming the economy, your upbringing, your boss, your circumstances, you give your power away. But when you shift into ownership, you take your power back. You accept responsibility for your choices, your growth, your success. You stop waiting for someone to save you or approve of you. You realize that everything you want is available, but it's your responsibility to go after it. Ownership creates action. It ends the waiting game and starts the building process. That's where your life begins to change, not because everything around you changes, but because you changed your mind. Another key mindset shift is going from perfection to progress. Perfection will paralyze you. It convinces you that if you can't do it perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. It traps you in procrastination, self-doubt, and fear of judgment. But when you shift into a progress mindset, you allow yourself to move forward. Even if it's messy, even if it's slow, even if it's uncertain. You give yourself permission to grow. You stop focusing on being flawless and start focusing on being consistent. That change in thought breaks the cycle of delay and activates the cycle of development. Suddenly, you start doing instead of doubting. Mindset shifts also affect the way you see time. A limited mindset says, I don't have time, but an empowered mindset says, I make time for what matters. This shift helps you take ownership of your schedule, your routines, and your energy. You stop letting distractions, excuses, and urgency rule your day. You start setting priorities, protecting your focus, and building a life around purpose instead of pressure. Time becomes a tool you use, not a force you fear. And when your mindset reflects that, your actions become more intentional, more strategic, and more aligned with your long-term vision. Perhaps one of the most transformative mindset shifts is moving from doubt to belief. Doubt will have you talking yourself out of your own destiny. It will make you shrink when you're supposed to shine. But belief will have you walking into rooms you once thought you didn't belong in. It will make you start businesses, write books, launch visions, and speak truth because now you know you're capable. When you believe in what you carry, you stop waiting for the world to validate it. You start showing up as if it's already yours. That's when your actions become bold, consistent, and undeniable. Not because you have certainty, but because your mind is finally aligned with the version of yourself you were always meant to be. Take immediate action. The moment an idea hits you, the moment a vision becomes clear, the moment you feel that spark of purpose rise up in your chest, you must move. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's comfortable or convenient, right now. That window of inspiration is powerful, but it is also temporary. If you wait too long, hesitation creeps in. Doubt begins to whisper. The mind starts looking for reasons not to act. That's why speed matters. That's why urgency matters. Action in the moment silences overthinking. It transforms vision into movement. It sends a message to your mind that you are serious, that you are committed, that you are not just a dreamer, you are a doer. Immediate action breaks the pattern of passivity. Too many people are trapped in the cycle of someday. They say they'll start when they have more time, more money, more clarity, more support. But someday is not a day on the calendar. It's an illusion. It's a trap. It keeps you waiting, wishing, wondering while life moves on without you. The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. There will always be reasons to delay. But successful people don't wait for the perfect time. They create it by taking imperfect action. They start messy. They start scared, but they start. And that one move forward creates momentum that thinking alone never could. Taking immediate action rewires your brain. It trains you to become a person who responds to vision with execution. It builds self-trust. Every time you follow through on an idea without delay, you reinforce the identity of someone who doesn't just think, they act. That repetition builds confidence. That confidence builds courage. And that courage becomes the foundation for even bigger risks, even bolder moves, even greater results. You stop seeing action as a gamble and start seeing it as your superpower. The more you act, the more you realize how much control you truly have over your own growth, your own results, your own destiny. When you move quickly, you also create clarity through action. So many people wait to act until they feel ready, but readiness is a result of action, not a prerequisite for it. You don't gain confidence by sitting still. You gain it by moving forward. You don't discover your path by overanalyzing every possible option. You discover it by walking, by testing, by adjusting as you go. Clarity is born in the doing. The faster you move, the faster you learn what works, what doesn't, and who you are becoming in the process. Immediate action pulls you out of analysis paralysis and into the flow of momentum where breakthroughs live. Action also opens doors that thought alone cannot. You can plan for years and never meet the right connection. But send that email, make that call, show up to that event, and everything can change in a moment. Life responds to movement. People notice momentum. Opportunities find those who are already moving, not those still sitting on the sidelines of their own potential. The universe aligns with intention, but it rewards initiative. If you want to shift your reality, you don't need more time, you need more movement. Movement speaks louder than desire. It proves you're not just interested, you're invested. Taking immediate action also crushes fear. Fear feeds on delay. The longer you wait, the louder it grows. But when you act in the face of fear, you shrink its power. You send a signal to your nervous system that you are safe to move forward even if you're uncomfortable. You teach yourself that discomfort is not danger, it's growth. And growth requires motion. You'll never eliminate fear entirely, but you can starve it by refusing to obey it. Action is how you train your brain to see fear not as a stop sign, but as a signal that you're moving in the right direction, into the unknown, into expansion, into the version of you that's waiting on the other side of boldness. There is also a deep psychological shift that happens when you act quickly on an idea. You reinforce the connection between inspiration and implementation. The brain begins to associate creativity with execution. You stop being someone who has great ideas and start becoming someone who brings ideas to life. That shift is critical because the world doesn't reward ideas, it rewards implementation. Everyone has dreams. Everyone has potential, but only those who are willing to move immediately, to take the first step, to risk embarrassment or failure, ever see those dreams become reality. Action separates the hopeful from the impactful. And the truth is, the first step is often the hardest, but it's also the most powerful. That one move forward shatters inertia. It proves to your mind that momentum is possible. You may not know the full plan, you may not have all the answers, but you have enough to begin. And beginning is the catalyst for everything else. No growth happens until you decide to act. No breakthrough arrives until you stop thinking about it and start building it. And once you begin, once you take that first small but deliberate step, you set off a chain reaction that carries you further than you imagine, all because you chose to act instead of waiting.